welcome to this session on essay. Today, I would be empowering all the students from a beginner to a seasoned one who is probably unable to score very good marks in essay related to this area. So first, I'll give a brief introduction related to this area, that what is it comprising of, how you need to attempt, and how you can get a quantum leap in this portion. So most of the times when we see a student preparing for this area, a child tends to suffer from a kind of confusion that what one should refer, how to go about with it, and what are the areas that one needs to pay attention. So first, I would like to bring your attention to what this area is all about and what is it asking. So we see that the new syllabus that was introduced in the year 2013, it introduced the possibility of essay as a 250 mark paper. Prior to this, that is 2012, when prior to this, we saw that this was a 200 marks area. Earlier also, there used to be 2 questions that had to be attempted, but 2007 or so you can consider, or even before that, you can see there are 3 questions also that a student had to attempt. Getting back to the real game. In 2013, there was only 1 section that was asked. That means there were only 4 questions. Out of the 4 questions, 1 had to be attempted, and this was of 250 marks. And the word limit that the examiner had imposed was 2,500. Up to 2,500 words one had to write. Now, let us see what is the present game. 2014 to 2019, we all know that this area is asking you to choose between 4 questions from each section. That is, there are 2 sections. There is section A and there is section B. From section A, you get 4 questions, and section B, you get 4 questions, and from there, you need to choose 1 each. So every section is comprising of 125 marks, and 125 marks into 2, that is 250 marks. Fun fact is that even GS, every single GS paper, the 4 of them are 250 marks each. But if we go by the dynamics of scoring, we see that a student struggles to get even 125 marks. Whether I'll be able to get 125 or not is a big dilemma that a student suffers from. Whereas when we are talking about this area of essay, you can very comfortably score 60% plus marks. In past few years, that is when I'm talking about 2014 to 19, on an average, you'll find that a senior aspirant, those who have got selected with good rank and marks, they have ended up scoring amazing marks in this area. That is, on an average, the toppers have scored between 167 to 172, whereas the students who have got selected with good ranks or fair ranks, they have scored between 145 to 165. Whereas you can see that in GS, 125 is also a big deal. So you can see the scope of getting a quantum leap is there in essay. The second area where you can get the quantum leap is optional, and the third area is interview. In these 3 areas, a student can get more than 60% marks. Another segment which you can understand is that the interview and the essay are the 2 dynamic areas where your personality can be tested. Because the way you cannot be inauthentic in an interview, because constantly you are interacting with the examiner with a purposive conversation. The board is making a purposive conversation. In the similar manner, in the essay, when you are writing from 1,000 to 1,200 words, now mind this thing, 1,000 to 1,200 words is a lot, means 150 marks to 250 marks is the word limit related to GS. And in optional also, most of the questions, that is 13 questions are of 150 marks, and few questions, that is 6 questions, are of about 300 words, though the word limit is not mentioned. So when we are saying that the longer questions, the 20 mark questions for which word limit is not mentioned in optional, is tentatively of 300 words. So 150 to 300, 150 to 50 is what a student has practiced by now. But now what happens is that when a child is writing a mains exam, so for GS and optional, that is for 6 pages, a child is seasoned to write something between 1.5 to 2 pages for 150 word to this question, and for 300 word or 250 word, the child is writing 3 to 4 pages. By pages, I mean to say sides. Okay. So here in essay, when you're writing 1000 to 1200 words for one single essay, you end up writing something closer to 18 to 20 pages, going by the size of your handwriting. An average handwriting takes 18 pages. If your handwriting is slightly bigger, you will be writing 20 to 22 pages. Slightly smaller, you might end up by wrapping it up within 15 pages or so. You are provided with extra continuation sheets, you are provided with rough sheets, so there is no fear of that as such. Now, when we are talking about this area of essay, you need to understand that when you are writing 1000 or 1200 words, you cannot beat around the bush or you cannot meander. You will be writing facts. Yes, facts do have an eminent place. You will be writing examples, real life examples. But for how long? Somewhere you'll also be giving your opinions. And the moment you are giving your opinions or you are providing analysis, here you are also giving a reflection of your personality to the examiner. The examiner is able to see through who you are, what are your strong suits, what are the principles that you stand by. In this situation, a child tends to falter, and when a child is unable to bring in clarity or when a child is unable to bring in a purposive, in-depth interaction with the topic, the examiner is able to also see that the individual is not very thorough in one's principles or doesn't have clarity about who the person is or what the person aspires to be. Please remember that essay or interview or any GS paper or optional, in the end of the day, the purpose of it is to choose the best bureaucrat. So when the examiner is aspiring to choose the best bureaucrat, every single question or every single approach, every single issue will be associated with finding the right candidate. So ask yourself that what are the qualities that are required in bureaucracy? And whatever the qualities are, is my essay reflecting the same qualities? Means, after reading my essay, is the examiner able to see an honest, upright, clear, a person full of integrity, a person who can communicate easily with the commoners, with the people, a person who has good leadership qualities, a person who has a very fine sense of values, a person who can stand very strong in various types of adversities, a person who is a good decision maker, a person who is rational and has scientific temperament, a person who understands the constitution and can be a conscious keeper, or rather can safeguard the basic tenets and values of the constitution. All these segments are tested through your essay. So see to it, all the ideas, perceptions, the examples that you give are somewhere reflecting these very perceptions related to your personality, so that the examiner is able to find a very energetic, enthusiastic, and a positive person whom the examiner is analyzing. Anyway, let us move ahead further in this area. So as we are finding this area, why not substantiate it through some areas, that is what is the nature of question and how you're attempting it. So I would like to show you the previous year question paper till 2017. As you can see, the nature of questions, which you can find all these 8 questions divided in 2 sections, you see that there are an array of questions related to different areas. Okay, when I say different areas, means different subjects are covered. Here, I'm specially highlighting 2017 because this was the trend between 14 to 17. So 17, I'm just taking it as a symbolic year. So in 17, we can see there are 8 topics, and the topics which are there related to economy, polity, or international relations, or philosophical topics, or social issues. We can see all these topics are basically inquiring your insight about these paradigms of life. So the first topic we can see is talking about farming has lost the ability to be a source of subsistence for majority of farmers in India. Subsistence means survival. So farming is no more a source of survival for majority of farmers, not all, not few, majority of farmers in India. So the examiner is giving you a scope to inquire why is this, how this has happened, in what ways it has happened, why this condition was not earlier, because it is saying farming has lost, not had lost. So, or like, is, was. So you need to pay attention to every single segment. Anyway, you can understand that this topic requires first and foremost a socio-economic engagement. So the prime focus is socio-economic engagement, though we can open other dynamics as well. Anyway, the second topic, it is saying impact of the new economic measures on fiscal ties between the union and the states in India. So the moment it is saying that new economic measures, okay, so new economic measures is hinting the economic segment, whereas union and states is hinting the political aspect. So this topic is economic and political in nature. Again, we can see this topic is destiny of a nation is shaped in its classrooms. So this topic is related to education. And when I say education, this is related to social issues. And the component of social justice, GS paper 2 has the paradigm of this area whereby it says the development and management of social sector, comma, education, health, human resource. So their education is mentioned. And education, you are getting a complete essay related to this topic. Then you see another one, it is saying, has the non-aligned movement lost its relevance in a multipolar world? This is definitely related to international relations, and also you need to have a fine understanding of history. Post-independence history, not only of India, but also the world. Now, again, you can see another section, section B, the first topic, joy is the simplest form of gratitude. This is a philosophical topic. So here you need to delve in this topic. What is the meaning of joy? Why is it considered as simplest form? And what is gratitude? And how are these factors influencing us as human beings, our quality of life and existence? Next is fulfillment of new woman in India is a myth. So what is a new woman? What is this technical term all about? What is the fulfillment of a new woman? What do we imply by saying fulfillment of a new woman? And why is the examiner saying it a myth? Is it actually a myth? Can we really call it a myth? So this topic is kind of debatable. Is it a myth or is it a big challenge? Because there is a difference between calling something a myth and calling something a great challenge. So we'll see that a lot of UPSC topics are debatable in nature. So the question arises, how to identify whether a topic is debatable or not? Can we debate in it or not? In 1993, related to women, there was a topic that men have lost, let women take over. Now, the moment you listen to such a topic, okay, like let me consider that the moment I'm saying that men have lost, and then there was a colon, let women take over. So the moment I'm talking about this, is this topic sounding very balanced? Definitely not. So, because the moment I say men have lost, I tend to say all the men have lost. That means I deny the contribution of social reformers, thinkers, scientists, academicians, and people belonging to all walk of life who have fought for human rights or who have shaped the human civilization to betterment. Similarly, the moment I say let women take over, I imply to say that just because a person is by gender, a woman, a person deserves to rule or take charge. Definitely not. Gender should not be the reason for taking leadership charges either for men or women or even transgenders. It should be the caliber of a person, the acumen, the capability to lead the people and stand for them, sometimes lead from the front and sometimes from the back. So the moment I say let women take over, it becomes little imbalanced because a woman may or may not be capable. We though need to understand that the moment the examiner gives such topics, the examiner is also hinting the possibility where and how men have become wrong and how the women who are taking up leadership roles, they have exemplarily performed well. For example, in the case of Corona, we can see that women leaders across the world, from New Zealand to Germany, they have really been quite successful in countering the cases of corona and containing the possibility of it compared to other nations. On various documentaries are prepared for it and reports are created related, but just simplifying it or generalizing it in terms of gender will create imbalance. So what is the relevance of this topic? Why this topic has been raised first? And second, when such a topic is raised before us, how to handle it? So please remember, you don't need to believe a topic just because UPSC has given it. You can always challenge the topic and you can always question the topic. But when to question? Whenever you feel like asking that I am unable to understand, that when can I debate over a topic, हम किसी भी topic पर वाद विवाद कब करें, ठीक है? I'm just speaking in Hindi so that few students who are finding that if you're feeling that okay, I'm unable to catch up so much of English, then I'll like switch once in a while in Hindi, so that students who are not having this as a language of comfort, they are able to understand. So whenever we are talking about this very possibility, we need to understand that those topics, कोई भी ऐसा topic जो constitution polity के rhythm में नहीं है, okay, any such topic, you should understand that if it is not preserving the basic tenets of the constitution, okay, for example, equality, liberty, justice, fraternity, sovereignty, okay, or like let's say secularism, whenever you feel that these ideas are getting countered, okay, then you can always raise a question. You can debate that, okay, this topic is given because this is also a side of the coin, which is true, and there is another reverse side as well. So there is a scope to debate. Anyway, we'll find more such topics, and I will be highlighting this very issue, which I highlighted right now once again. Anyway, so hope you're understanding fulfillment of new woman in India is a myth. The moment I call it a myth, all those women, whether they are working mothers or they are like, let us say, the maids, or let us say bureaucrats, ministers, teachers, lawyers, like anyone, academicians, people who have been able to prove a mark, not only for themselves, but also the society. They have been able to contribute for the growth and well-being of the society. Those women are not a myth. Their existence is not a myth. Yes, their creation is a big challenge. Those women to climb up that ladder and prove their worthiness, prove their mark, has proved to be a challenge. So the moment I say fulfillment of new woman in India is a myth, myth becomes debatable. It is a big challenge, yes. Anyway, moving ahead further, we can see we may brave human laws, but we cannot resist natural laws. So what are human laws? Human laws are something not only related to constitution and polity, you can also quote CRPC, IPC, family laws, etc. So we may brave human laws, okay? But we cannot resist natural laws. So the moment I say natural laws, the concerns of environment, the concerns of human geography also comes into existence. You can bring in the insights related to science and technology where the intervention is required and when the intervention becomes exploitative. Anyway, the fourth topic is social media is inherently a selfish medium. Again, this topic is debatable. First, social media, how it is inherently a selfish medium, we'll be proving it, how it is so narcissistic. The very idea of like, you know, taking pictures, making videos, always getting into selfie. We never thought that phone, which was a means of communication, the second most important feature of a phone would be the camera. When the phone was launched, no one thought that a phone would sell very fast only when it has a very good quality camera. But nowadays, everyone, other than the features which are there related to connectivity or high-speed internet, etc., a person also looks into it, or the space, a person also looks into the quality of camera. So this camera, the existence of a camera is nothing but like, you know, focusing on self. And the moment we say focusing on self, the very idea of selfish comes in existence. Selfish, when you are more focused on yourself. Anyway, but still, the moment we say social media is inherently a selfish medium, we deny the possibility whereby social media has united people on various public platforms or over various issues related to racism, casteism, communalism. It has brought people together not only for charity, but also to stand for human rights. There have been videos that have been uploaded and brought home justice for those people who were suffering, and there was no one to listen to them. So unknown videos have been posted and they have been shared, made viral, and the issues have been duly addressed. So, like, you know, this topic is also debatable. Anyway, so Till 2017, I just showed you 17 as I told you that this is symbolic in nature. Till 2017, we saw that the questions were related to multiple areas, means related to different subjects. There was polity, there was IR, there was philosophy, there was social issues, there was economy. There were multiple areas that were dealing with the dynamics of essay, and a student was supposed to know multiple subjects. Yet you could make a choice. Means if a child was very well prepared, like let us consider, if I would say that a child is fairly prepared in the area of let's say polity or the area of social issues, a child could easily sail through essay. Means the child need not delve into the philosophical area, or the child is suffering from the philosophical insight. It does not have clarity in the philosophical domain. The child could have earlier till 2017 made it through in the exam. But 2018 onwards, we see there is a visible change. So what is exactly happening? Why can we witness this change? Please understand, the examiner basically wants a student to be a thinking individual, an individual who can take good leadership, an individual who can understand the dynamics of human existence, the dynamics of leadership, and also what is the inner metal, the inner merit of a person. अगर आप अस्तित्व से मजबूत हैं, आत्मा से मजबूत हैं, अपने व्यक्तित्व में मजबूत है, अपने निर्णय में मजबूत है, एक व्यक्ति के या एक हौसले के तौर पे अगर हम देखें, अगर आप मजबूत हैं, तो बिल्कुल लाजिम सी बात है कि आप कतई बिखरेंगे नहीं. Means if you are a person who is having a very strong personality, a very efficient personality, an efficacious personality, okay, you are not going to make the people suffer under you as an officer. So it is very much essential that you are able to take good decisions. But ये होगा कब? जब आप अंदर से खुद मजबूत होंगे. जो व्यक्ति स्वयं अंदर से खाली है या मजबूत नहीं है, वो कभी भी दूसरों को नहीं दे सकता है. So it is inherently important that a person is strong from within, is a good decision maker, and is having clarity of purpose. And that is evaluated by the expressions you use in essay. And the expression does not mean very bombastic language. Definitely not. Please, anyone who feels that for essay you need a very flamboyant language, maybe मेरे बोलने में भी आपको ऐसा लग रहा हो, but please समझिएगा कि मुझे पढ़ाते 10 साल से ऊपर हो गया. And when I'm talking about academics, I have been in academics for like more than 2 decades now. And for past 1 decade, I have been teaching. So definitely when you're constantly engaging academically, your language over the time period gets better, and it should get better. But when you're a beginner, or like let's say a school student or a college going child, what happens, or even like you've started preparing, what happens is most of the students after standard 8th or 10th, they stop working on their vocabulary. Because most of the students who take up science or commerce, they don't pay attention to the development of language. During college days also, language is not a priority. Suddenly when you start preparing for UPSC, you realize that there are so many subjects, and in the array of subjects there are also, you're bombarded by a lot of new words and terminologies. Try to grasp the new terms and terminologies from all the different areas, all the different subjects, because that is building up not only your vocabulary but the domain of thought. The greater you can think, the better you can think, okay, the better you can express. So we can say language is basically the tool which is facilitating to express your thought process. Whatever is coming in your mind, you can express it very powerfully, okay, when you have the clarity of language, clarity of purpose. So purpose, the inner side, language is the external aspect, and you need a semblance between the two, okay. So when you are clear in your purpose and at the same time you're having clarity of language, you're able to pull through very easily, you're able to sail through very easily, okay. Now getting back to this. So when we are building upon this area of essay, we need to understand the kind of questions that now I want to bring your attention to. That is the philosophical essays, which is a kind of challenge for most of the students in past few years. I mean, specifically 2 years. I hope in 2020 or in the future, the examiner will continue to ask the philosophical essays, because as I told you that essay gives an insight about your personality. Through these essays, the examiner knows that you cannot only build up a lot of facts or points or a lot of examples, but somewhere you'll also be reflecting about what you personally feel about the topic. And when your insight, your thought process is reflected in that essay, the examiner is able to see through who you really are. And the maximum scope of seeing through who you really are, or what you believe in, or what you think is right or not right, that possibility comes into existence, okay, only when we are able to see that how a child feels on the issues related to truth, related to value, related to gratitude, and various such terminologies, right? Because on economic topics, political topics, social topics, even in social topics to a certain extent, we can see through who a person is, because that shows your sense of empathy and compassion, not only towards the vulnerable sections, but towards the entire biome in which you are existing. So the interaction of the individual with the larger biome is possible. Anyway, so in philosophical essays, the possibility to see through is greater compared to a political topic or a topic of IR or science and technology or even social. Okay. So how is it possible? Let us first see the topics to get a clarity of the idea, right? Okay. So for that, I would be highlighting some topics, that is what have been asked in past few years. So here are the topics you can see. In 2018, the examiner has asked you in this section B, all the four topics are philosophical in nature. You can see customary morality, the first topic. Customary morality cannot be a guide to modern life. Then you can see there is this word, the past is a permanent dimension of human consciousness and values. Another one, a people that values its privileges above its principles loses both. Please understand, मेरे से कोई spell error नहीं हुआ है, typo error नहीं हुआ है. If someone feels that there's a typo error, why is it a people? A people is an expression. If your grammar is not so powerful, then also you may get stuck. Okay, we say people in general. Okay, people means people, like casually the way you say, like a group of individuals referred as people. They can be unknown, they can be known, okay, or a community. But the moment we say peoples, there are three expressions: people, peoples, a people. So the moment we say peoples, so peoples of the world, this is an expression. Peoples of the world, when we say, that means different communities, different ethnicities existing in this world, okay? So I want all of you to understand this expression, all those who don't know this. The moment we use the word peoples, okay, peoples means multiple ethnicities or communities across the world, when they are put together, means your identity or separate identity is also identified, yet you are, okay, taken in a cluster, or you're taken like we are acknowledging you as a group. So this is something which is as an expression used, peoples of the world. Similarly, when I say a people, so a always brings in, okay, to some specific unit. So who is this specific unit? A people means a, mostly when I'm talking about it, like for example, an ecosystem, if I'm using, okay, or a girl, a means any, okay. So any people means any group of people, any community, any group, okay. So this is a new expression for many of you. I would advise you people to understand this expression and go ahead with it in terms of usage. Anyway, getting back to the topic, we all can see it's saying a people means any group of people, any community that values its privileges above its principles loses both. Fourth topic is reality does not conform to the ideal, but confirms it. Okay, this is quite a tricky topic. I'll take this up in a short while and explain you how you should unfold the language. None of the words are complex or tough in it, as you can see. Reality does not conform to the ideal, but confirms it. Maybe conform शब्द आपको नहीं पता होगा. Conform means किसी चीज को abide करना, ठीक है? Confirm means किसी चीज को approve करना. So reality does not conform to the ideal means reality is not according to the ideal, but confirms it. तो ये इस टॉपिक को अगर आप समझेंगे ही नहीं, आप इस पे लिख ही नहीं पाएंगे. So you need to have a clarity of what a topic wants to say. Okay, let me first explain this and then move ahead with this. Okay, so when I'm saying that reality does not conform to the ideal but confirms it, okay, let me explain this to you. So the moment I say, like, let's say reality does not conform to the ideal but confirms it. First and foremost, we need to break open this very topic. What does it imply, right? So the moment I say reality does not conform, what does the word conform means? So यहाँ पर इसका meaning हुआ according to. So reality is not according to the ideal but confirms it. Confirms means it approves it. ठीक है, उसको approve करता है, उसको re-establish करता है. तो but confirms it. It किसके लिए है? Ideal के लिए. तो कौन सा? The ideal, not just any ideal. The ideal. The means the pre-discussed ideal. Okay, you cannot just write down ideal. It is for ideal. No, it is ideal. The specific ideal we are talking about earlier. सो इसको अगर ओपन करेंगे स्टेटमेंट को तो आएगा यहाँ पर रियलिटी डज नॉट कंफॉर्म और रियलिटी इज नॉट अकॉर्डिंग टू द आइडियल बट रियलिटी अप्रूव्स द आइडियल. ओके, मीन्स जैसे कि अगर आप बोल रहे हैं आपके सोसाइटी में, जैसे अगर कोई कहता है कि हम नारियों की इज्जत करते हैं, नारी शक्ति, ठीक है, या फॉर एग्जांपल स्टूडेंट्स फ्रॉम कोलकाता, as you would be listening to this very thing, you must be knowing that woman is worshipped and there is the worship of Shakti or the worship of Durga. So the thing is, just by worshipping Shakti or by worshipping Durga, can we say that we are a society who respect women? Well, not really. When we are talking about this very possibility, we all need to understand that if women are raped, molested, they feel insecure, they are unable to step out of the household, take up decisions for themselves, they are unable to pursue their careers freely, that means somewhere the problem exists. That somewhere the reality is not according to the ideal. The ideal was that the woman is having a very high status, is enjoying a very high status. But what is your reality? The reality is a woman is not comfortable to step out. The woman is unable to take her decisions independently. So the moment I say the reality does not conform to the ideal, but confirms it, means reality is not according to the ideal. Rather, the reality proves what your real ideals are, what you really believe in, what your true values are. Means your values are not shaping the reality. It is the reality that is proving what your real ideals are. Quite deep, right? Yes, philosophical topics are very deep. They want you to think, absorb, understand, and then attempt. And that's why in past 2 years, because of the philosophical topics, the game has become trickier. And you know what? To add to the above, this topic was also debatable. The moment you say that reality is not according to the ideal, rather, the reality is proving what your true ideals are, you are negating the fact and the various values that have shaped the reality and are still shaping the reality. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, बात को बहुत घुमाऊंगी नहीं और बहुत इसको डेंस नहीं करूंगी, ध्यान से समझिएगा. हमारे वैल्यूज या हमारे आइडियल्स में एक है बड़ों की इज्जत करना, रेस्पेक्टिंग द एल्डर्स, सपोर्टिंग द पेरेंट्स इन ओल्ड एज. इट इज स्टिल अ वैल्यू, इट इज स्टिल एन आइडियल दैट वी ऑल फॉलो. इसीलिए कोई बच्चा माँ बाप को लात मार के निकाल दे, बदतमीजी से बात करे, गाली गलौज करे, हम उस व्यक्ति को अच्छी नजर से नहीं देखते, हम उस व्यक्ति की इज्जत नहीं करते. So when we are saying that we don't respect such an individual, we don't look up to such an individual, we need to understand that in this scenario, when we are saying, then ideals are shaping your reality. Laws भी बना रहा है और influence कर रहा है. बॉम्बे के हाई कोर्ट ने हाल ही में, मतलब जस्ट 2 years बैक, एक अपने जजमेंट में ये कहा कि अगर बच्चे जो अपने पेरेंट्स से प्रॉपर्टी इनहेरिट करते हैं, प्रॉपर्टी इनहेरिट करने के बाद अगर उसी प्रॉपर्टी से माँ बाप को बुढ़ापे में बेदखल कर देते हैं, तो उन बच्चों को उस प्रॉपर्टी से बेदखल कर दिया जाएगा और पेरेंट्स को वापस वो प्रॉपर्टी मिल जाएगी. मीन्स द पेरेंट्स shall be the final owners of the property. The property will get restored to them, and the children who maliciously misbehave, like threw the parents out of the house and they misbehaved with the parents, okay, those children will be not owning the property finally. तो ये जो लॉ हमें देखने को मिला, ये जो रियलिटी हमें देखने को मिली, ये किससे शेप हुआ? हमारे आइडियल्स से शेप हुआ, है कि नहीं? ऐसे बहुत सारे लॉज हैं और ऐसे बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स हैं जो दिए जा सकते हैं, लेकिन उसके लिए फिर लेक्चर हो जाता है, क्लासेस हो जाती है, तो उस समय मैं आप लोगों को समझा ही दूंगी. Whenever I'm taking the class, I shall be substantiating this area. Anyway, getting back to it, all I wanted to highlight was that the philosophical topics can also be debated. You can debate even there, okay? लेकिन वो तब होगा जब टॉपिक समझ में आएगा, नहीं समझ में आएगा तो बैंड ही बजेगी, ठीक है? So it's better that you really delve deep in every single word, okay? Anyway, as I was discussing about this area, I would like to highlight few more topics as we were discussing. We can see 2019 में देखिए, अगेन हम लोग सेक्शन ए देखेंगे. चारों सेक्शन, the चारों questions, section A, all the 4 questions of section A is philosophical in nature. The first one is saying wisdom finds truth. Second is saying values are not what humanity is, but what humanity ought to be. Then it is saying best for an individual is not necessarily best for the society. And fourth is saying courage to accept and dedication to improve are 2 keys to success. So courage to accept and dedication to improve are 2 keys to success. ये सारे थॉट प्रोवोकिंग टॉपिक्स हैं, आपको चिंतन मनन करने के लिए प्रेरित कर देते हैं. They just encourage you to think, to delve deeper, to understand, and trust me in this area, not only your life experiences, but the insights that you derive from history, from social issues, and from GS paper 4, ethics, integrity, aptitude, are going to be immensely helpful. To substantiate the above, I thought why not give you an insight of the questions that have been asked in previous years. So 2018-19 तो मैंने आपको दिखा दिया, कुछ पहले के questions भी दिखा देती हूँ आपको. देखिएगा एक अंडर करंट जो कॉन्स्टेंटली बह रहा है और इनके बीच में इनको जोड़ रहा है. मीन्स देयर आर सम, वी कैन से यूनिवर्सल ethos, principles, ideas and values which have existed since times immemorial, and whether the question was 30 years old or 25 years old or 20 years or 10 years old, they are perennial questions. They can be asked anytime, and you need to be really seasoned in those topics. So the question is, can this area not be prepared? Yes, it can be prepared. So for that, I would first highlight what are the topics. Let's see. You can see here the topic is he who reigns. This is in 1993. Okay, so 1993 से लेके 2019 कुछ selective questions मैंने उठाए हैं so that you can see what is the nature of the question and what are the terms that they are dealing with. So the first one is saying he who reigns within himself and rules his passions, desires and fears is more than a king. एकदम apt quotation for a bureaucrat. He who reigns within himself and rules his passions. So you can rule over your passion, your desire, your fear. You're more than a king. So here, definitely all the values required for bureaucracy, for administration, that is there in paper 4, which you would be preparing in your GS paper 4. All those can be discussed here with a lot of real life examples, which would make the essay engaging and interesting, right? Okay. Then you can see compassion is the basis of all morality. Again, you can see the word morality, compassion, right? Similarly, youth is a blunder, manhood is a struggle, old age is a regret. So what is blunder? What is struggle? What is regret? And can this topic not be debated? Why should always youth be a blunder and for everyone? Why manhood should always be a struggle? Why can't it be a I would say a winning race, okay? Or it can be a winning experience. And why old age should be always a regret? Why not a sense of joyous fulfillment? Anyway, next is useless life is an early death. So what does the examiner imply? And how does life become useless? What is the word useless? And what is usefulness for self as well as for the society? Anyway, then you can see disinterested intellectual curiosity is the lifeblood of a civilization. So what is intellectual curiosity? What is civilization? What is disinterested? Okay, so keywords, delving deep, finding the dimensions associated. Then it says, our deeds determine us as much as we determine our deeds. Okay, so our actions are defining us as much as we and our personality, our values are defining our actions, vice versa. Okay, so again, you can see there is an echo of the same topic that we discussed just a few minutes back, that was customary morality. The topic that we were discussing, reality does not conform to the ideal but confirms it. वैसा ही कुछ है. Our deeds determine us as much as we determine our deeds, right? Okay. So how can we determine our deeds? We can determine our deeds through our morality, through our sense of values, ethos, right? Anyway, truth is lived, not taught. So the moment I say the word truth, you can see the word truth is again reflecting itself here. It has been asked later also. 1996 का question में truth की बात करता है, और 2019 का question word wisdom finds truth. So truth is again reflecting itself. Similarly, I'll just run through a few key topics which you can see again over here. Like you can just see these. I'll see to it that it's attached in the the thumbnail or the link somewhere down. But I'll just highlight few more topics like spirituality and scientific temper. So what is spirituality? What is scientific temper? Attitude, what do you understand by that? Discipline, okay, what is success? What do you understand by anarchy? Okay, similarly, you can see Gandhi's quotation was given in 2013, be the change you want to see in others, okay? So again, with greater power comes greater responsibility. So what is the idea of power? What is the idea of responsibility? Who is responsible? What does the word actually imply? Right? Words are sharper than the two-edged sword. So all these, as all of you can see, there are a lot of topics which have been asked in the past related to this area. So why not? What I imply to say is that why not prepare a list of these topics, like words like gratitude, truth, compassion, morality, attitude, okay, ethos, all these words, why not try to find out their definition, the determinant factors, the history, the development of human civilization, how all of it has shaped these terms, and how over the time period, differing from civilization to civilization, culture to culture, these words have gained a different flavor and meaning, and how they have created the possibility of change, not only for a human civilization, but for the future that we are yet to experience. I would give you some pieces of advice. First and foremost, I would request you all to get into voracious reading. So what to read? That is one question which many students ask. Well, I would like to say there are three sources. First, general studies, whatever you're studying, try to make key points and also absorb good sentences from newspapers or books or any text or any lecture which a teacher gives. Sometimes people end up speaking or writing amazing sentences. Those sentences can come from TV series also, movies also, anything that really empowers you, inspires you, and transforms you. Absorb those sentences. Make a diary, and you can segmentalize it according to the topics. It can have, like, let us say, topics related to political issues, social issues, philosophical issues. You can just segmentalize it. You can write the topic, and related to that topic, you can write some keywords. You can write some brilliant examples you are coming across. You can write a set of sentences. See, in the end of the day, an essay, if it is like, let's say, 1,000 or a 1,200 word game, you need to ask how many sentences do I need to write? On an average, a seasoned aspirant who can write very well in a professed manner is able to articulate the information on an average in a 10-word sentence. Means one sentence comprises of 10 words. Means sometimes it can be 15, sometimes it can be 8 or so. I'm just keeping 10 as an average. That means you're writing 100 sentences or something like let's say 110 sentences. If this game is all about 100 or 110 sentences, and you have already prepared, like let us say 10 to 12 powerful set of sentences related to a topic, topics which are oft repeated, which are commonly asked. For example, we saw education, women, they have been mostly repeated. Women, in past 26 years, 13 times a topic on women has come. Related to education, 16 times topics have come. Similarly, issues like development, corruption, okay? So you can just highlight these areas, truth, okay? And you can create a list of sentences related to these areas. Also, you can create, according to me, you can create a flow chart, or you can create a tentative multi-dimensional insight. For example, maybe I can just draw and explain that to you for greater clarity, what I mean to say. So just a second. So like, let us consider I can just highlight this thing to all of you, that you can prepare multi-dimensional approach related to the topic. For example, you can read a lot of sources, like not only the books or the magazines, but also I would support you. You can read, I said, the books. In magazine, what can you read? Well, योजना is a must. योजना का जो आपको एडिटोरियल मिलता है ना, उसको जरूर पढ़िए. वो कुछ नहीं बल्कि एक 600 से 700 शब्द का, 600 to 700, it is I have to close this. So 600 to 700 words तक का हम देख सकते हैं कि this is a nothing but a 600 to 700 words. This thing you can consider. Just a second, I'm experiencing some problem, technical error. Okay, yeah. So you can see that editorial is nothing but a 600 to 700 word essay, and it's a profound essay. It's a very good quality essay. So what I can advise you, that you can probably look into the very possibility of this area, the 600 to 700 word essay of Yojana, that is the editorial, okay, because it's written in the style of an essay. It's not written like a regular article. This is one source. Or profound books, good books. I don't mean M. Lakshmikant as a book. Please mind it. It is more like a notes, okay, a collection of notes. When I say book, books like Bipin Chandra, you will be reading it, okay. You can read Raghuram Rajan, or it's not necessary you finish the entire book. Read like few chapters, few paragraphs. You can read Guru Charan Das. You can there's so many authors. If I start with that, that would be another thing. Probably I can provide you a book list later when I'm teaching you all. Okay. So I would just say every single teacher can inspire you to read some very good books related to their subjects. And in free time, you can just read, if not the entire book, few chapters of your choice. Your language, your vocabulary, everything will be built. Anyway, other than books and magazines, second, you can also see the essay of previous year candidates, okay, of previously selected candidates, okay. You can go through their essays. I think that's again a very good source, because you see them scoring and you see that they are writing something very profound, which is having a great impact. And also you can see the third source, which again I can highlight related to this area, is you can listen to some powerful videos, okay. So you can listen to some powerful videos, which are like, it can be TEDx, okay, so TED Talks, or you can see the goal posts and various other, so BBC videos are there, or you can see some nice documentaries. So they also sometimes use very powerful language. They come up with very interesting examples, and that also substantiates the content. Always give a sizable number of examples, not too many quotes. 2 to 3 quotations are more than enough. So those students who cannot memorize quotes, don't get scared. Okay, few quotations are fine. The only thing that I would like to say is that in the end of the day, the essay should be very engaging. So when you're writing the introduction, there are again multiple types of introduction. I will be talking about it in greater detail in the lecture. Presently, most of you might be knowing that you can start your essay with a quotation, or you can start it with a question, or a list of questions, 3 4 questions at the same time, or you can start it with an anecdote or a short story. Okay, so an anecdote or a short story, you can start it with a conversation. Two people are conversing, and through the conversation, you can introduce the topic, but let the conversation not be too elongated, or the anecdote or the short story, whatever it is, not too elongated. Okay, you can start it with her definition. You can also start it with the historical background. Okay, the historical background, or you can also start it with, let us say, you can also build in the context of the essay by giving some profound example, some facts, okay, or some examples which are very engaging in nature. And see to it that the examiner from the very first paragraph is entering into the domain of your essay. Not only related to the economic, social, or political essays, but the rule applies to philosophical essays as well. Every topic has some core area, core concern. Okay, so the first 2 paragraphs should always address the core area, the core concern, the first few ideas, perceptions which you can recall, connect, related to the topic. Start with that, because that will not only pull the attention of the examiner, but also make the examiner understand that you are absorbing the topic in totality. Okay, so get into the core of the topic, just absorb the core of the topic, and start after the introduction, connect the introduction with that idea, and then you start with that area. So the first 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs or initial few paragraphs should be associated with the core areas. Paras can be of any size. As the topic changes, you can change the para. So there is no delimitation that every para should be of 50 or 70 or 100 words. Nothing of that sort. Some para can be 70, some can be 110. No problem with that. Okay. Then start opening multiple areas. Means related to that topic, whatever you have heard related to, let's say, what is your individual truth related to your topic, your individual understanding, what is your understanding in terms of the family, what is your understanding related to the society, what is your understanding related to your national insight, or let us say the international perspective. You can also connect it to the vulnerable sections. How is the topic related to the vulnerable sections, their dynamics, their challenges? Vulnerable sections again can be the poor, they can be like the old age population, the children, the minorities, the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribe, vulnerable in any sense. Okay, it can be related to gender. So you can open the dynamics of the topic in terms of the vulnerability. You can again think of the topic in terms of, let's say, the problems or the challenges which are there. Okay, after the problems and challenges, you can also think of the topic in terms of let us say solutions. Be very profound with solutions, and do provide solutions that shows, the solution shows that you are a good decision maker. You are not only a person who is capable of raising problems and is hypercritical, but also a person who can offer solutions for the society and for the various challenges or issues that people are suffering from. Try to open multiple dimensions, like you also try to open the environmental perspective, the political perspective, the psychological perspective of a topic, the historical perspective of a topic, right? The economic perspective of a topic, the social perspective of a topic, the cultural perspective of a topic. Okay, you can consider the scientific, the science and technological aspect of a topic. Try to open various dimensions associated with a topic. Okay, So in the problems and challenges which I had said, okay, so problems and challenges, along with that, I would also say you can topic, if the topic can have a scope of impact, the impact can also be positive, negative. So you can think from that perspective as well. And always, always remember that bring in some deeper insight. Okay, the deeper insight, when I say the deeper insight, is always associated with some in-depth principles, the broader human principles. So when I say the broader human principles, I mean to say principles related to integrity, principles related to like justice, fraternity, decentralization, secularism, diversity. So the broader human principles which keep us together, which bring us together, reflect from that perspective as well. And after reflecting from those perspectives, I would encourage you to bring in the insight of the topic and start building upon the content accordingly. If, like, let us consider you're going for the examination, and before entering the examination hall for essay, if you have, like, let us say 30 or 40 odd topics, and in those topics, you suppose you have a register in which you have some, like, let's say 10 topics of polity, the topics which are in news. Okay, it can be related to center state relation, it can be, like, let us say, related to the neighbor issues, it can be related to fundamental rights, it can be related to the current issues related to some laws. So if you have made some key points, some key sentences, 10 sentences or so, some dimensions you have opened related to these challenges, problems, or whatever dimensions I just opened, okay? So if you have opened those and you have written a lot of points, and, like, let's say you have 10 such issues on polity, 10 on social, 10 on political, 10 on economic, 10 on environmental, 10 on philosophical, okay, 10 on social. If you have those points in the examination hall, it will be much faster, much easier for you to recall and produce. It will be easier for you to think. It will be easier for you to even systematize. It will be also easier for you to connect with the actual language, because sometimes the idea is there but it is not existing in English, it is existing in the mother tongue. तो अपनी देशज भाषा या अपनी मातृभाषा जो है, उस मातृभाषा से उसको अंग्रेजी में सोचने के लिए हमें क्या चाहिए, वो सोच। और वो सोच कब आएगी, जब हम पहले से उसके बारे में सोचकर बैठे हों या उससे संबंधित शब्दों से परिचित हो। When you are aware and connected to the words, okay, and the vocabulary related to a topic, it is easier for you not only to recall and articulate but also develop further. Some on the spot creativity is also possible in such a scenario. So this was just a brief session related to essay. A more in-depth, analytical and exhaustive approach shall be given to you when we are taking the lectures. And when you all shall be there, I will be also building upon the paradigms associated with how to break up your time, how to do the time management, what are do's and don'ts of essay, how to build up the, like, let us say, the structure of the essay, how we can build in the content, and also what are the methods through which we can encapsulate it. Always remember, wrap up your essay on a positive note, on a note of hope, on a note of futuristic approach, on a note which is just proving that you are a visionary leader, so that the examiner is able to be affirmative about you and think of you as a engaging individual, as an individual who is sensitive to people and who can really comprehend the paradigms associated with any issue. And being a good decision maker, the person will also be a great leader. Okay, so hope this session was helpful for all of you. Thank you. Take care and have a wonderful life ahead. Thanks.
I'm an icon, man. I'm a girl about a 10. I should fuck her in a Benz.